But I have been pleasantly surprised that it's achievable. And even if it's overall successful, there are a lot of ups and downs. And it doesn't always look successful from the outside.
Yeah, so one thing I'm curious around is, from my own experience as well, is when it comes to kind of, I guess, navigating and the ups and downs, essentially it's making decisions. And, as the leader of this company, you have to make decisions every single day. You see people of the same uniform. A lot of, like founders, they don't even want to have that decision fatigue on what they're going to wear. So I'm curious, how do you go through the decision-making process every single day, challenges that you face, ups, downs, fires you have to put out, and you've got to make these decisions fast. What does that what does that look like for you? How do you work out what the next move is? What's the right decision? Because you've obviously been, you've been right, obviously 80% of the time, and I think that's a really critical thing.
Well, I'd give one answer today, but I think there's also been a journey where that answer would have been different along the way. And so now, at our scale, and I think most companies, after a certain level of progress, would be thinking about the same things, or most CEOs, which would be, well, first question is, what decisions should I be making, right? And being intentional about that, because part of why you hire a team and you get great people in your company is so that you can divide and conquer on a lot of these decisions. Part of it is building judgment on, and some of that's formal, like, okay, here are my formal, there's a document that says Drew's role and responsibilities that we thought about. And then there's a lot of stuff that comes at you. And then developing the judgment and the instinct or spidey sense around, this thing seems important, but it's actually not that big a deal. And this little thing that just was some offhand comment somewhere is actually a string I need to pull on. And I think some of that comes with time. And your 80% comment is important, because no one gets all the decisions right. When you look at what makes what successful decision making looks like, or sort of common failures in decision making, often one is just not making a decision or sort of letting things happen to you. And so there's a whole bunch of things that are important about making good decisions in general. But then I think more important is how do you make good decisions, or how do you put yourself in, or how do you train yourself to be good at that? Because a lot of what I have experience with now, I didn't have experience with 10 years ago. So it's really more that, how do you train yourself? Because no one does that training for you, and that training happens on the job. So first, that's important to know, because it can be intimidating when you start, because especially a year or two in, a lot of what you learn is that you don't even know what you don't know. Or as soon as you start to discover, shine a light on that, you're like, oh my God, there's so many different things that I need to, that my company and I need to be on top of. And it can be overwhelming. And so just realizing that that's normal. No one comes out of the womb a CEO. It's a learned role or learned job. It's not something that you're born knowing how to do, or there's not this other super class of entrepreneurs that just have it all figured out. Everybody by definition is a CEO for the first time at some point. So I think going into it, that mindset is pretty important, because otherwise you won't even try, or you'll get totally overwhelmed, which is not helpful.
Hey Founder Fam, we hope that you loved that clip. If you did, you can click through right here to watch the full interview. You don't want to miss this one. See you there.